That's how I went from this simple image to creating these amazing ads with artificial intelligence in seconds with N8N and Google Drive. Most people use ChatGPT as a simple text consultant, solve doubts, and so on. But did you know that you can use it to make your project or venture much more effective? Imagine this. You browse Facebook or Pinterest to find information and find ads whose aesthetics catch your attention. Analyzing the art style, creating sketches, and ideas can take you hours, days, or weeks. This autonomous system can be created in seconds by you. Platforms such as Freepeak, Creatify, Ads Creative can become expensive. Today's proposal is to use N8N, an incredibly intuitive automation platform, to create an agent that recreates it for you. If you have a computer and internet, I assure you that you can do it. Let me show you how this system works. This system is made up of three parts. The first analyzes the image. The second is in charge of creating a prompt for the creation of the image. And the third is in charge of creating your final image. In less than 10 minutes, he generated these images for me, keeping the focus of my product but with different artistic styles. If you want to learn how it works, stick around. Let's get started. But first I want to tell you about Mintedwell, the best automation community in the world. Here you can find the best workflows out of the box. Learn how to create them, configure them, as well as have a community of like-minded people, entrepreneurs, content creators, etc. You can access this template in the link in the description. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, this is the workflow that you're going to create. It's a quick flow that you can learn to do in a single afternoon. Let's review how it works step by step. As we had mentioned, this workflow is made up of three parts: analysis, creation of the artistic style, and creation of the image. Let's start with the first part. Unlike other projects, this one starts with a manual trigger, this with the aim of maintaining control in the creation of the images. Before moving on to the next node, I want to tell you that you will need 3 folders in Google Drive, which you will have to have ready. The first is the folder where you will upload your content, inspiration, ads that have caught your attention, and that you like. The second would be your product folder. Google Drive will use your product images to create the final creative. And the third folder is where your final results are going to be saved. With this clear, we return to N8N. We're going to continue with the Drive node. The first step would be to add our credentials. Under Fonts, we select File folder. Under Operation, select Search. In addition, you can add a limit, this to keep the flow of your data correct. You must select the folder that you created earlier, in this case, Inspiration Ads, which is the name that I assigned it in my folder. This node will be in charge of obtaining the inspiration data and sends it to the next node that will be in charge of downloading it. This node has a simple configuration. Its function is only download. To make sure that the ID is correct, we must select this dynamic tag, and in this way, we always make sure to work with the correct image. The third step would be to analyze the downloaded images. For that, we must use the native OpenEye node. We add our beliefs, and that's it. Remember that if you don't know where to find your OpenEye credentials, you should look it up on the official OpenEye site. Go to the API Keys section, create a new API, go back to N8N, add them, and you're done. In Source, we need to select Image. We tell it to analyze the image. You select the model and add a prompt. Select the input type and move forward. The important thing about this node is to analyze what works about each image. Analyze colors, designs, styles, to later be used in the creation of the final product. The next 2 Google Drive nodes have the same settings as the previous ones, but their function is now to review your product folder and download those images. The only thing you need to make sure is that you need to change the settings of this node to make sure that it points exactly to the right folder where your products are. The next OpenEye node, like the previous one, it analyzes your product and creates a detailed description of it. Before moving on to section 2, we need to add a boundary node. This node is responsible for keeping the results under control. It helps keep costs low and not create images you don't need. You just need to set it up according to your creative needs. This node is responsible for taking your product analysis and inspiration analysis and creating a powerful combination that reflects the qualities of your product with a defined aesthetic. extracted directly from all the references you gave. To set it up, we need to add our credentials. We select the font as the text, choose a model, and you can choose from all this variety of models offered by OpenAI. We're going to move on to the prompt. We're going to analyze it. This prompt is not only responsible for analyzing, but also for running the results and creating the creative instructions for the next node. Once ready, we move on to our prompt creation agent. That's why we use our first AI agent. This agent is a prompt engineer. It is the creative heart of the system and is responsible for producing at least 10 executable creative concepts. For each item it generates, it will create 10 creative options for its operation, following the aesthetics of the images you have as inspiration. You must have this option active, as it will use 3 important tools. The first is a language model, for which we will use OpenAI. To configure it is super simple. We must add our credentials and that's it. The second node is a think node, which makes sure people think about their answers before they finish, and a tool called AutoParser, which ensures that the AI agent node generates a structured response, since we need multiple prompts in addition to giving us a structured JSON. This is a super important step. Without it, the system won't work. With this, we end section 2 and move on to the creation of images. This section, image creation, starts with a split-out node. The function of this node is to split the previous result, since everything comes packaged in a single individual item. And we need all the items to generate an image for each prompt that the previous node generated. For the next step, we need to add a boundary node, again to keep track of the results. This can be configured according to your needs and helps you to keep control of the creations made. In addition to the fact that if you are in a process of configuration and creation and constant improvement of your system, this node helps you not to overspend. To continue, the system enters a loop that processes each of the entries, creates the image, and uploads it to Google Drive. In this way, we ensure that it generates all the images. The configuration of this node is simple. Each entry is processed one by one and has a connection to a wait node. This node allows the system to rest on what each file is generated. OpenAI's API, different call numbers. Adding this node allows you to bypass blockages. You can try 5 by 5 until you find which configuration works for you. The next node is one of the most important, not only within this system, but within the entire N8N. It's an HTTP request node and allows you to create custom calls across different services. We're going to use it to make a call to the OpenAI API as follows. Let's choose the post method. In the URL section, we add the following link and select our credentials. You don't need to re-enter them. We already did in the previous step. Look for them, and they should appear in this section. We must activate the Send Body section. Here we select the GPT model to use, and also the prompt that will be used to create each image using this dynamic tag. Also in this part, you can create the size of the final image, which in this case is 1024 x 1024 pixels, perfect for Instagram and other social networks. Once the OpenAI API is called, the next step would be to reveal them. The previous node, the HTTP request, processes everything on a 64-base basis. That's why you have to convert it to a file. And that's why we created this. It's a convert to file node that allows you to do just that. We must select the operation, add the following expression, and also here you can add the extension of the image. In this case, it's PNG. This step can also help you to fine-tune your and design better images. Once you're happy with the result, the next thing would be to upload them to your final folder. We must use the Google Drive node. Select our credentials. In operation, we tell you that you must upload the file, and we make sure to configure the file with the final folder. This would be it. And the end of the process ends only until all the files are processed, which for this execution were 5. But this can vary depending on the model you use. That's why within the flow, we added some new limits, which are the ones that will allow you to save money on what you find the right configuration for your product. What I find most interesting about this system is its ability to create quickly for the execution of ideas. I find it very interesting to use artificial intelligence to test ideas much faster than it normally would. What used to take you a few days can now take minutes. And really don't overdo it. literally minutes. With this artificial intelligence agent, you will not be short of ads again, and it is an interesting proposition in the creation of a different content. But let me know what you thought of that system. I really recommend that you stay tuned and subscribe to our channel, as we upload content every week with the latest news on the world of artificial intelligence, as well as amazing tutorials on N8N. If you would like to have that template and go straight to the action, don't forget to join our community. The link is in the description. In it, you will find this and other workflows totally ready to use. Just download it, upload it to your platform on N8N, and start using. Join the Minted Web community. Remember that AI is not going to replace you, but someone who uses artificial intelligence will. See you in the next video. See you soon.